It was one of the craziest stories we had covered, whichever year it came out. I think it was a couple of years ago. Those of you don't remember this, as highlighted here in this article in Variety. Director Carl Rinch, who directed 47 Ronin, this whole thing went down where Netflix gave him a whole ass ton of money for a show I believe was going to be called White Horse. They gave him a whole bunch of money and nothing was coming. And he said, I need more money. So they gave him like $11 million more to do some more stuff. And he never gave him a show, but he bought a lot of stuff. Well, that guy is now, unsurprisingly, on trial. As is headlined here, Carl Rinch Netflix fraud trial begins. Was sci-fi director a swindler or just in over his head? I can read some of this at length because some of the details matter. Said the show White Horse, which was never completed, was pitched to the streamer as a high-concept thriller about the rise of humanoid OIs, organic intelligences, and the human fractions determined to destroy them. Described as a mix of Star Wars, Westworld, and The Matrix, the series was once touted by Netflix execs as their next big franchise. But those dreams faltered when the big-budget series began to face major production issues in the fall of 2019. Netflix tried to solve the problem by sending Rinch an additional $11 million. That was March 2nd of 2020, just before the pandemic disrupted nearly every production. Netflix never saw any additional footage or material for White Horse, I should say, and ultimately wrote off the investment. Over 5 years later, Rinch, now 48, is facing many years behind bars if convicted of wire fraud, money laundering, and making a series of illegal transactions. The 47 Ronin filmmaker is alleged to have used the $11 million for his own benefit by buying a $740,000 Ferrari, a $340,000 watch, and luxury mattress totaling $638,000 amongst other purchases. The article goes on to say he then funneled a bunch of the money into his own investment accounts so he can do investments and all this kind of nonsense. And he just spent all the money. They spent millions of dollars, never delivered a show. And I still remember when we talked about it, it was one of the craziest things. Because you remember the South Park's joke about Netflix, right? The phone rings. Netflix,
yeah,
greenlit.
You're greenlit.
You didn't send out money. Go ahead, and make whatever. Now this guy's face. Now his lawyers.
Those luxury mattresses, I thought this was a total of... The luxury mattresses were $638 for
Dude,
four.
You need a good night's sleep. If you're going to be a director, you're standing a lot. You need some comfortable sleep, right?
I kind of don't want to know what it's filled with, the mattress.
It's filled with
or what it
semen.
does to you when you sleep in it.
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking at what, $150,000 mattresses?
It better be a damn good sleep. It better be the best, most comfortable mattress you've ever had in his life. So, I mean, it was just nuts. And this speaks a lot to the state of Hollywood and everything. Now, it goes on in the article
Filled with $100
that
bills.
his lawyer is making the argument, no, he's not a con man. He just got in over his head. And again, I encourage you, the article's on Variety. Go and read up the full article for yourself to get all the details. I won't go into it at length here. But, I mean, this is... I hesitate to tell this story, but I will. I'm going to try to be as vague as possible. I had this instance once where I was a buddy of mine, a filmmaker, and in a moment of being half drunk, said filmmaker kind of admitted to me that the film that they were currently working on, he squandered the money that was meant for the production on the movie, and he spent it on his own stuff. And he was going to go somewhere to try to win back enough money to replace the money he had embezzled and stuff like that. And then, and I thought about that when this thing came out, when this story came out, I thought, how common is this? And like, what does Netflix do? Do they literally just cut a check to the director and say, yeah, go make this? And just, yeah, we'll just trust you. I mean, I don't know, but it's going to be really interesting. I don't see how he gets out of this. Now, granted, I'm not in the court. I'm not hearing all the details. Maybe the court could become sympathetic and said, oh, he tried. I don't know. I don't know how you say he tried with a $740,000 Ferrari and $600,000 worth of mattresses. But it's still to this day, Rob, remains one of the weirdest stories I've heard. But I kind of feel like maybe this isn't as unusual as we think, and this is just one of the stories that have come to light. Anyway, Rob, you remember this story. The trial has now begun. They're saying it's going to be wrapped up in a couple of weeks. What do you think about this whole thing?
Well, I mean, when I was producing DVD special features, I was working for a studio, and you have to I had my production company, and they would cut my production company a check, and I had to sign a contract, and then we had a scope of work, and we said, here are our special features, and we have to deliver them, and we would have delivery days when these things were due. Now, I did have an accountant, and it was, I can't imagine a company, the biggest check I ever got was just a little bit over $1 million. But that was also because we're going to go in country to a foreign country that I'm paying people to go to for 14 months. So that money had to sustain us, and we had to deliver what we had to deliver for that money.
Plus, didn't you have to submit financial reports about where the money was being spent? Like, didn't you have to account for the money?
I had to submit a budget in the first place before, and that was what I got paid based on the budget that we agreed on. But yeah, and then of course I have to be accountable for that money. There's tax things. You have, like, when you were working in New Zealand, you have to show you got returns. You had to be meticulous about what you show. And with the production, I mean, I can't imagine getting written a 13, 11,000, however many millions of dollars he got. You got to have a production accountant. Like, you can't just willy-nilly. And I can't even imagine spending $600,000 on mattresses, because someday what you want to be able to do is have your books be transparent. So if anyone from the studio asks, may we see where you're at, you open up the books so they want to work with you again. The one thing about working with investors, especially a studio, is you want them to pay you a next time. So I don't get this at all. Like, I don't understand who wrote this guy, who at Netflix was writing $10 million with $13 million. They gave him $11 million more. Like, they just gave one dude. Like, they didn't cut a check to the production and send it to a production accountant, or do a direct deposit into a production bank
Maybe there
account.
was, and he had a way to manipulate it.
I just don't know.
I don't know.
That's what I want to know. I want to get the transcript and find out, because I want to do this. I promise I'll embezzle far less money and deliver a product.
Somebody somewhere in some coffee shop, there's some wannabe screenwriter right now making a screenplay about this in the vein of Catch Me If You Can.
Well, it's got to be released on Netflix.
Yeah, and it's got to be on Netflix.
See, the sad part about this whole thing is, if you had an in with Netflix and you were getting to make a show with them, wouldn't you want to continue that relationship?
I don't know, man. If I could pocket $11 million, I'm pretty set for life.
I would much rather.
If I can sleep on that mattress just one night.
One night on that, it'll change your life, man.
That's all I need.
I don't know. There's no future in embezzling money from a company like Netflix. As this bears out.
Like, what do you think? Like, are you thinking nobody will ever figure this out? Like, yeah, $10 so I can buy a couple of Snickers bars. Maybe they'll never notice that missing from petty cash. But like, you're buying a $750,000 car. Do you think nobody is ever going to notice this?
I don't know.
You used to drive it yourself.
When you used to drive,
I mean, some people get away with it.
Colt.
Alex Kurtzman and Les Moonves, people like that, have certain predilections that they get money for, and they take care of their things. But I don't understand, man. You've got to be accountable. You cannot take money from studios and not spend it correctly. You will get caught.
Well,
you will get caught.
He did. Now we're going to keep our eyes on to see if he gets found guilty or not. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, BetterHelp. Hey guys, we are right now in the middle of the holiday season, and this is always the time of year when traditions take center stage. For me, one of the small traditions I've had for myself since I was a teenager is taking at least one night during the Christmas season to just spend completely by myself, to just reflect on the year that was and how I want to improve myself in the year that's coming. The holidays can be joyful, but they can also be stressful, overwhelming, even lonely. So if you're thinking about starting therapy or getting back into it, BetterHelp is a great way to begin. BetterHelp has fully licensed therapists who work under a strict code of conduct, and they do the matching work for you. The way it works is you fill out a short questionnaire. They use over 12 years of experience to match you with someone who fits your goals. And if it's not the right fit, you can switch anytime from their tailored recommendations. With over 30,000 therapists and more than 5 million people served, the platform's average live session rating is 4.9 out of 5 from more than 1.7 million reviews. So this December, start a brand new tradition by taking care of you. Our listeners get 10% off at betterhelp.com/Campea. That's betterhelp.com/Campea. Anyway, guys, question is for you. This is a weird story, man, but what are your thoughts about it? Whatever you think, jump down to the comments section below and leave your thoughts there. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.